Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And don't you know the only reason people are leaving bad reviews about Batwoman on Rotten Tomatoes is because she's a lesbian?
Yeah.
According to Forbes.
Yeah. Also, Forbes, I checked. They're the ones that gave it really good reviews in the critics scores.
Okay.
I'm just pointing that out.
All right.
Yes and no. I mean, do I honestly think that they're being review bombed? Yeah, I do think it's being review bombed. I'm not gonna lie. I think it is being review bombed, but I don't see it's any different than how other shows were review bombed, or other shows have been artificially inflated, like She-Ra and that by
She-Ra, Doctor Who.
Yeah, they can track it back to groups that were set up to basically at the end of the day you can't trust Rotten Tomatoes and stuff anymore.
No, I think that's the
takeaway. So anyway, go ahead and give them the intro spiel.
We'll give them the intro spiel. So this is Clownfish TV. We talk about pop culture news. We do give our views and opinions on things. We do occasional rants. In this case, we're going to talk about Batwoman on CW. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. We have 67,000 subs. We're hoping for 100,000 soon. It does help us in the Google algorithm because YouTube, they keep making changes that bury small channels like ours. And if you want those alternative hot takes, you're going to have to sub to make sure.
Or make sure you weren't unsubbed.
Yeah, make sure you weren't unsubbed because they keep doing that too. They keep doing that. They keep unsubbing people from their account. Very, very weird things going on at YouTube these days. But this is coming from Forbes. Batwoman is getting IMDb and Rotten Tomato review bombed for its lesbian lead.
That's not what happened. I mean, it is getting review bombed, 100%. I would agree with that. If I'm going to be completely fair, I have no doubt it's being review bombed. However, their trailer was a very clear
man bashing.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry, but it was. Man bashing? It was very clear, that who it was for, what it was going to be about. They set that up with their trailer, and I think if you had done a trailer that was, if that show is not those things, if you had set up a trailer that was more indicative of the show and not so much as we're going to push an agenda, you might not have had so much backlash. I haven't watched it, to be honest, because I just haven't had time.
No, I was going to check it out. Some people said it actually wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be. I'm not, and I said in the previous Batwoman video, I am not a huge fan of the Arrowverse anymore. It lost me after about season 4 of Arrow, and it just kind of got ridiculous. You still watch Legends of Tomorrow? I
haven't watched last season, but I have, and that's what I was going to bring up. They're saying that they're talking about it's doing so bad, and then they compare it to the IMDb and Rotten Tomato scores of other shows. But these other shows have the representation in them, and they're still getting good scores because they didn't make it their focus of their dang show. Like Legends of Tomorrow, Sarah Lance is bisexual, has been with a woman, and they make no hidden anything about this. And they're like, well, eventually she got to lead. No, it was only after the first season she took over. So she led right up pretty early on.
People were watching the show mostly for her because Sarah Lance was, the original Canary and Arrow, and she was the breakout character. She was a breakout character.
And guess what? She had an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
In Arrow. So everybody knew going in that she was like that. It wasn't a surprise.
Right. So this is
still
where
a really good show.
This is where it doesn't hold up because they're talking about look at all the other CW shows and how they compare. Flash, 72% audience to 7.8, Arrow 7.5.
And they have representation in Arrow.
All these shows have LGBTQ
Supergirl definitely does.
And they're not getting hit as hard as Batwoman. So it can't just be because the lead is gay. That's not the whole issue. Now, again, like you said, is it being review bombed? Yeah.
I 100% think it's being review bombed.
I think it is. I think it is.
Fair.
But you look at some of the reviews, and like I did the other day, a video on the Daily Dot, and they basically said, yeah, it's kind of alarming that it's getting bad reviews, but our own internal review was not glowing. The show's not that good. It's just not that good. And this is the Daily Dot, who I thought, being a very progressive outlet, would have been all over this.
Oh, it's written by a woman too.
Written by a woman on the Daily Dot.
The complaint of the Forbes was, if you look at all the reviews that are giving it bad reviews, it's all men. Well, in contrast, if you look at all the positive glowing reviews from critics, a lot of them are from women. So I'm just saying, now there are women who give it bad review anyway. And they said that it was pandering, and these were women. How dare they? They're all misogynists, clearly.
This is kind of they can't really, I love this though, they can't really give it praise either. Like, you can argue that, well, Batwoman is just bad as an explanation for these low scores. I mean, after watching the pilot, it's certainly not significantly worse than any pilot we've seen out of the Arrowverse, since you kind of know what you're getting with the CW show at this point.
So it sucks, but it's not the worst of the worst.
Right, it's not the worst. The action's fine, Rose is good as Kane, and there's nothing to warrant these rock-bottom audience scores unless this is review bombing.
Oh, they're going about Captain Marvel. I just want to point out about Captain Marvel again, that there was also groups, and we had proof of it. We had screenshots of it all over the place that were deliberately going to review bomb it in the opposite direction to make it raise its score, even if whether it deserved it or not, just because they were going to raise it to a higher score. So it's really kind of laughable because there's like these two factions that are trying to and all it's doing is just nothing. Now we know we can't trust these review sites. Is all you're learning from this. Watch it and form your own opinion. Is all I can tell you.
Now, it's weird, though, because there are some YouTube reviewers out there who have actually given it a better review than I thought they would have. So, your miles may vary. But again, I think it's just because this show, and again, same thing with Captain Marvel, this show was positioned to learn the fans.
It was. And it was
to learn the fans, educate the fans. It's edutainment.
But clearly from the trailer, yes.
But that's the trailer. Now, the actual show, people said it really is very by the book, but it's not terribly good. It's not a good show. Again, it's only a pilot, but...
Well, they had Screen Rant had one too, and they're talking about... Oh, we on Screen Rant. The stark difference between audience and critics, because Batwoman has been review bombed. The stark difference between audience and critics. There's just always a stark difference between audience and critics. Have you ever noticed this? A lot of these critics love movies that are garbage. And then they go after movies that are supposed to be problematic because they're trying to prove something. And it's the same type of people, the same people you'd expect. Forbes, they had two people review it, and they both give it glowing reviews. And then they're writing an article about it's getting review bombed because people don't agree with our opinion. Yeah,
there are a lot of sites out there. Like, look, I covered the other day, the Mary Sue was talking about Batwoman being review bombed, and the Mary Sue at that point had not even seen it.
We haven't seen it. That's what I'm saying. You know what? Look at their reviews. Go to who you trust for honest reviews, and then go with that. Do not go by Rotten Tomatoes because that is, to be fair, it is just a crap show on both sides.
And this is not completely accurate either. And I want to backtrack here a little bit. They said, given the fact. Okay, when you say given the fact, you have to bring some facts.
And you have to prove it.
Where's the link to the facts? Given the fact that an anti-gay campaign has been leveled against Batwoman since it was first announced.
No, it's because your trailer was shit and it was clearly pushing an agenda.
Yeah, since it was announced that Rose would play the character. I'm going to talk about that. What happened? What actually happened when it was announced?
That was even before, yes.
The negative sentiment surrounding the series might not change, but Rotten Tomatoes should surely update their platform to prohibit such hatred.
Here's an idea. How about you take the audience scores and you combine it with the critic scores?
Here's what actually happened when Ruby Rose was announced as playing Batwoman. On Twitter, a lot of people who you think would have been on board with her playing Batwoman, they attacked her.
They did. Because they attacked her because she wasn't. They didn't think she was the right actress for the role.
She wasn't gay enough.
Yes.
They said that fans argued that she wasn't Jewish. They questioned her acting skills. They said that she's not a lesbian. She's, I think she's pansexual or bi. I'm not sure.
Because don't you know when you're an actor, that means you have to be everything the character is that you're playing. Otherwise, you can't be an actor, which kind of what acting is.
Yeah, so people were harassing her for not being gay enough. People harassed her for not being gay enough on Twitter, and they drove her off. They drove her off of Twitter. The people that should have. Yeah, we actually defended her in a video. The Twitter trolls drove her off, and it wasn't the Twitter trolls you would have expected. It was not the quote-unquote alt-right that drove Ruby Rose off of Twitter. It was the people who you would think would embrace this show.
They're the ones yelling now that it's doing badly because she's a lesbian character.
Yeah.
Same people. It's like...
Yeah,
you just can't make this stuff up.
You can't make them happy. You can't make them happy. So this is right here. This is a fact. The fact is that she was driven off of Twitter, not by the quote-unquote alt-right or not by the quote-unquote fans.
Not as the anti-gay campaign that they're claiming that she was driven off Twitter for? That was when announced? No, that was not what happened.
That's not what happened. So get it right, media. You guys can't get it right. She was driven off of Twitter because she wasn't gay enough, and now you're saying there's a concerted effort, and we actually went to bat for her. A lot of news outlets, a lot of YouTubers went to bat for her because they're like, you know what, this isn't right, she shouldn't be harassed because of her sexual identity, and how hypocritical is it of you to harass her for her sexual identity, wanting to play a role.
Now, however, they argued before that she wasn't a good enough actress, and now they're mad because people are saying she's not a good enough actress.
Yeah, so she quit Twitter over it, and yeah, you know, but the show, you know, to be fair, it beyond the controversy over Rotten Tomatoes, the ratings weren't very good on it.
No.
And you know, it could just be a one-season wonder. I mean, and we don't know what's going to happen anyway, because there's the other factor here that people are forgetting, is that this is a Warner Media show. The CW is Warner Media. They've already canceled Swamp Thing before Swamp Thing was even started. You know,
Swamp Thing was even got to be the thing
before Swamp Thing even happened. They canceled Swamp Thing, and they also reportedly, and I talked about this yesterday with the DC Comics restructuring, they were really cheaping out on getting actors to come back for Crisis on Infinite Earths. Rosenbaum, the guy who played Mike Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor in Smallville, basically said they offered me virtually no money and they needed an answer like that day, and I had to turn them down. That's why I'm not in it, because Warner Media, owned by AT&T, is struggling with a ridiculous amount of debt.
They have a huge debt.
A huge debt. So, you know what? Given the ratings, given the controversy, it would not surprise me at all if they cancel Batwoman after this season just to save money. You know, just to save money, because they're looking to cut corners anyway. So then you got both sides arguing that, you know, Batwoman got canceled because, you know, the anti-gay people had Batwoman canceled. And I'm like, no, it's going to be the bean counters at AT&T are going to be the ones who pull the plug if they don't think there's a sufficient market for it and they don't think that the merchandise is going to sell.
If they were going to cancel it over people not liking it because of that reason, they would have canceled it before it aired, because they had so much backlash from that trailer, because the trailer was really pandering. And I'm a woman, and I thought it was pandering a bit hard when they did that. So
well, she's a woman too, as evidenced by her multiple references to being a woman in the trailer. The song even was like, "I'm a woman," or whatever. I mean, short of just wearing a T-shirt that has, you know, like a band, like a Ghostbuster symbol with like a penis in it. There's really no way you can make it any clearer that she was a woman and this show didn't like men.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but that's reportedly, and we'll have to go watch it. We'll watch it. Reportedly, that's not how the actual episode went. They just cherry picked.
Right. They people they put in charge of it were definitely pushing for a certain narrative, and that might not be what the show was about, and then that hurt the show. Right.
So the trailer does everything. I mean, it's like even with, you know, Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel, a lot of the backlash came from the trailer. The people cutting the trailers together had an agenda, and they wanted to push, you know, her row and all of this, when they could have just been like, hey, it's another Marvel movie. Come see it.
People wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have had as much backlash had they just handled it better.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen it. To be fair, I'm not going to say it's good or bad, because I honestly don't know. I can tell you that Rotten Tomatoes, don't ever trust Rotten Tomatoes. It's cheated so many ways over. I'm sure, 100% sure it's being downvoted on purpose.
Yeah, well, it's easier to downvote TV shows than it is movies now, because now you have to like prove that you bought a ticket.
Right, you're right. And so I'm sure it is. Does it deserve a bad review? It might. I don't know, but I'm sure some of it is a concerted effort to downvote. Just like I'm sure there's some things on there I see scores for that I know are concerted effort to upvote it. So it goes both ways. We've seen it. Basically, the takeaway is you can't trust whatever it says. Go find sources you trust and see what they had to say about it. Go watch it yourself if you want to. If you don't want to watch it, don't. No big deal.
Yeah. So just very, very dishonest, though, I think, how they're spinning this. Yeah, it shouldn't surprise anyone. But I think the show is not going to last another season, and I think it's going to come down to money. I really do.
Probably.
So we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.